So let's look at some different example problems when we're going to be multiplying a difference of two squares. And remember, we have two different approaches. We can use distribution or we can just apply the formula. Where the formula, let's say we have a minus b times a plus b, where in our case, this could be our a value and this is our b value. So first we subtract it and then we add the two numbers, or it could be vice versa. But in our formula, when you multiply these out using distribution, the middle terms are going to cancel out and you get a squared minus b squared. So if we apply the formula here, we know a is 5a to the third, so we are going to square 5a to the third and then subtract b squared. And b is 6a squared, and we're squaring that. So simplifying, when you raise an exponent to an exponent, you multiply those. And we're squaring 5 as well, so you get 25a to the sixth. Now you could also just write this out as 5a to the third multiplied by 5a to the third and just multiply the two monomials, but it is helpful to often look at it in two different ways. Likewise here, we are squaring the 6, so that's 36, and we are squaring a squared, so that is a to the fourth. And as a way to check this, we are just going to multiply this out using distribution. So we'll take our 5a to the third minus 6a squared and multiply it by 5a to the third plus 6a squared, and just double check that we do get this as a final answer. So we multiply with distribution. The 5a to the third goes to both terms. We multiply it by both of the terms in the second binomial. And the minus 6a squared multiplies to both terms. So 5a to the third times 5a to the third, that is 25a to the sixth. We have 3 a's multiplied together here, and we're multiplying by 3 more a's here, and so in total you have 6 a's multiplied together. Then we have 5a to the third plus, or multiplied by positive 6a squared. 5 and 6, that is 30. And we have 3 a's here and 2 there, so in total we have 5 a's multiplied together. And then we go to the minus 6a squared term, and we're going to multiply that by 5a to the third. So that's going to be minus 30a to the fifth. And again, remember the rule when you have these variable expressions here, that if they have the same base, you just add the exponents. So they each have base a, and so 2 plus 3 gives us 5 for our exponent. And then we take minus 6a squared, and we multiply it by 6a squared. So we get minus 36a to the fourth power. And what you can see is that these middle terms are going to cancel each other out. So this 30a to the fifth minus 30a to the fifth, that is 0. So we just get 25a to the sixth minus 36a to the fourth. And we can compare it to the answer we found with the formula, and you can see that they are the same answer. So we can feel confident that this is, in fact, the correct answer. And let's do one more of these problems. And let's just rewrite this. Let's use distribution to multiply this out. And for this one, I will leave the checking up to you. You can practice that by using the formula. So we're going to distribute here. This 8n squared will go to both terms, and this 3n to the seventh will multiply to both terms. So let's start with the 8n squared. That's going to multiply by 8n squared. So 8 times 8, that's 64. And n squared times n squared is n to the fourth. You have the same base, so we add the exponents. And then we do 8n squared multiplied by minus 3n to the seventh. So 8 and minus 3, that's minus 24. And we have 2 n's here and 7 more here, and so in total we have 9 of them multiplied together. And then we go to the 3n to the seventh term, and that's going to multiply to both. So 3 times 8, that's positive 24. And they have the same base for the variable expressions. So they have base n, so we can add the exponents. So 7 plus 2, that is 9. And then we do 3 into the 7th, multiplied by minus 3 into the 7th. So 3 and minus 3, that's minus 9. And n to the 7th times n to the 7th, that's n to the 14. You have 7 n's here, and you're multiplying by 7 more n's here, and so in total, you have 14 n's multiplied together. And lastly, we just simplify everything. So notice that the two middle terms are going to cancel each other out. Minus 24 times n to the 9th plus 24 n to the 9th. Those are going to be 0. So we get 64 times n to the 4th minus 9n to the 14th. So this should be our final answer. Now, of course, you do want to check this to get some extra practice. I encourage you, try to do that on your own using the formula where a minus b times a plus b is equal to a squared minus b squared, and you would just set this as a and that is b.